Welcome back, everyone. The film That Girl in Yellow Boots recently got audience members and film critics talking with its sensitive topics and gritty characters. I sat down and spoke directly to director Anurag Kashyap and lead actress Kalki Koechlin to get the inside scoop into what made this film stand out from the rest of Bollywood. Come join us. We'll be joining director, producer, and co-writer of the film That Girl in Yellow Boots, Mr. Anurag Kashyap, right here at the Paramount Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. You could tell us about the creative process of coming up with the story for That Girl in Yellow Boots. I had heard that it came from a newspaper clipping that you had read.
Yeah, it came from the story about this German girl who came to India looking for a father. And this another story of this very strange criminal rape case that happened in Parla.
What was the creative writing process of finding, Ruth's character and Naseeruddin Shah's character?
My thing is I had a story, but I wanted a woman perspective. And that's why I asked Kalki to write it. And I knew Kalki is a writer. She had not written a film script. She just wrote scenes and scenes. She wrote some 30 pages, which I turned later into a film script.
And how is it working with your wife on such a deep project? What is it like having a personal relationship and making it a professional one?
It was very difficult because though it was an emotionally exhausting subject. So it was very intense. Our relationship got very intense. When we were shooting it, we would go back home very quietly. We didn't talk to each other for 3 weeks while we were shooting the film. And plus she was the writer and the actor and I'm the director. And I wanted to always get between the writer and the actress. There's a lot of resistance there. So it took a lot out of both of us.
Wow, that's really interesting. And when you mentioned 3 weeks, this film was shot in 13 days?
13 days or 3 weeks.
Wow. So how was that process? Because always independent films, you're trying to get as much in.
We were borrowing money every day. Like we started shooting, we borrowed money from my friend who runs schools in Chandigarh. Then we borrowed money from my another co-producer of Udaan.
Great. You're now you premiered at the Venice International Film Festival, screened at the Toronto International Film Festival. So are there any other prestigious festivals left for you?
It was the opening film of Saif. It went to Seattle. But after that, no, the thing is the film is still going to various places. But my thing is I don't know, now the film is about to release. So now the focus is moved on to the next films.
And so can you give us a couple of clues on what we can be expecting next
Right
movie?
now there's this film called Michael, which is in Toronto, that we have produced. And another film is Michael Winterbottom's Trishna, which we are the Indian co-producers of. So we have 2 films in Toronto.
We'll now be speaking to Ms. Kalki Koechlin, the lead actress and co-writer of the film That Girl in Yellow Boots. You come from such an interesting personal and professional background. You are of French descent and your parents are from France, but you were born and raised in southern India, correct?
That's right, yeah.
So now, how was that for you growing up as of European descent, but growing up completely Indian?
Well, it came with its good points and bad points. I mean, it's great to sort of be open to 2 different languages and cultures. I grew up speaking Tamil, English, and French, and I watched French cinema, but I also watched Tamil movies in Hollywood films. So, and it was a really wonderful mix, but at the same time, I always got stared at, and the assumption was that I was a foreigner. So it was always, I had to speak the local language in order to let people know that you can't take me for a ride.
Right, exactly. How was kind of preparing for a role like that I'm assuming you are different from because you do know the ins and outs of India, but your character doesn't necessarily?
Right. Yeah, there are some things that, again, I can relate to because being white-skinned, as Ruth is, the way people look at you, especially men, the way men look at a foreigner and think that maybe she's easier to flirt with and easier to approach, and there is generally a stereotype of the foreign girls. So that is something I've experienced myself, so that was something I could relate to. But the side I couldn't relate to is, as a very seedy underworld and being an illegal immigrant. I mean, she actually has outstayed her visa, and actually what the authorities should be doing is kicking her out of the country, but instead they're sort of using her and using the fact that she's so desperate to stay in search of her father that they end up bribing her and using her in other ways, and she ends up in these bylanes and in this very unfamiliar territory in order to sort of survive. Yeah.
This film has been doing wonderfully, premiering at Venice International Film Festival and then the Toronto International Film Festival. And so now it having its kind of a global start in a very prestigious festival circuit, how are you now feeling about it being released worldwide, especially in America?
It's really fantastic. I mean, I walked past AMC theaters and they told me your film is going to be in that theater, and I was looking at the size of it and I was, wow, in New York. So it is very exciting to have this film releasing here.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Kalki Kakla. That Girl in Yellow Boots is currently making its way through theaters after its successful film festival run. We'll be right back after another short break and see Sahara One's exclusive coverage of A.R. Rahman's newest work. Keep it locked.